Hello students, let us discuss today the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists a pair of ovaries. You can see a pair of ovaries. These pair of ovaries are located in abdominal region on both sides of the uterus. This portion is uterus. So on both sides of uterus, one ovary is present. So total 2 ovaries are present in female's body. These ovaries are considered to be the primary reproductive organ of female. These are called primary reproductive organs because they form female gamete. Female gamete is called ovum. So they form ovum. But remember that every month one ovary releases ovum. So suppose first month this ovary has released ovum, so next month this ovary will release ovum. So they release ovum alternately on each month. These ovaries form ovum, that is the female gamete, and releases that ovum into this tubular structure. This tubular structure is called fallopian tube. Its other name is oviduct also. So fallopian tube or oviduct. After the release, the ova moves into fallopian tube. Now these fallopian tubes connect ovary to a pear-shaped organ. This pear-shaped organ is called uterus. So once the ovum is formed here, it comes into the fallopian tube and then it goes into the uterus. You can see that the lower portion of uterus, this whole is uterus where the development of embryo takes place. The lower portion of uterus is narrow. This narrow portion of uterus, that is also known as neck of uterus, is known as cervix. This portion is called cervix, this opening portion. Cervix opens outside to the exterior through a tubular canal, and this tubular canal is called vagina. Okay, now let's discuss the menstrual cycle. The process of ovulation and menstruation in women is called menstrual cycle. So these two processes constitute a cycle that is called a menstrual cycle. Now during this menstrual cycle, a series of events takes place. Now what events takes place during this menstrual cycle? The first event that takes place is the release of ova. When the ovas are formed, they are released in the fallopian tubes. And this process of release of ova is known as ovulation. Ovulation occurs. So once the ova comes in fallopian tubes, if they get sperms here, then the fertilization of that ovum takes place here. And that fertilized egg comes here in the uterus. And here the development of embryo takes place. But if the sperms are not available, it means in unmarried women, if the sperms are not available, then the fertilization doesn't take place and ova or ovum comes here in the uterus, right? Now uterus every month prepares itself to receive the fertilized ovum. Now what type of preparation it do? It makes it lining. This is the lining of uterus. You can see that it is very thick. It makes the lining of its lining thick by the collection of tissues and blood vessels. It makes it thick and spongy. This lining becomes thick and spongy so that it can receive the fertilized ovum. But if in case fertilization doesn't take place, then this all preparation is useless. There is no use of this preparation. So in case when the fertilization doesn't take place, then this all is shed off along with the blood through vagina, and this is known as menstruation. Along with the blood and tissues, the ovaries are unfertilized ovaries also goes out. So this process is called menstruation, which occurs every month in females. Now students, one thing to remember here, ovulation, this cycle, that menstrual cycle is of about 28 to 38 days, right? And on the 14th day, ovulation takes place. So you have to remember this, that on 14th day, ovulation takes place. Okay. Now come